It's enough to let yourself explore it in the moment and to release it or decide to hold it. Because ultimately, if you're not already, but we want you to stay on your mission here on earth. So when you do let go of those things, even if you did come in with it, even if that's a thing that you decided, okay, I'm going to have this hang up and that hang up, and I'm going to meet that person and they're going to treat me like crap and whatever. It's like, okay, but now here I am at this time where I am literally preparing to assist other humans with ascension. Or as you said, birthing, I think you said birthing Earth or something like that.
A
So
midwife.
a midwife, yeah. So it's like, all right, I came in with that stuff, but am I actually ready to let that go? Am I still holding on to something that would stop me from that mission? So, in that way, you don't need to hang on to it any longer, right? So, you're doing the dream coaching and you're in the birth wound section and you've finished almost an entire week of Speedboat, which is a dream seed all about seeing what is stuck and seeing what you can release. What I'd like to know right now is just what kind of cargo did you explore and what was your experience with that? How did it feel? Did you let go of anything? Did you hang on to anything?
You're talking about the visualization before I went to bed. The first piece of cargo I grabbed, it seemed to be a mommy attachment. And what seemed to be in it was like mementos of the memory that I didn't want to let go. And I let go of it. So that bag had that in it. The grand let go.
That was really brave.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for seeing that and saying that it was courageous. Thank you.
Well, and you might be tempted to hang on to it longer, but in that dream seed, in that visualization, you are literally letting things go. So, for you to take things that you thought were the most dear to you and allow them to float away and to fade away, I feel like that's a really big deal.
So when you think about being in the womb, and that I think that was a cool thing that I'd never experienced. I like the gentleness of the womb and metaphorically being at the door before you come out. And then all the baggage that you came in, the lessons to learn, letting go is something that's near and dear to me. And finding new ways to let go of things that are perhaps hidden is exciting, such as with the dream speedboat meditation that you created. That was cool.
And yeah, the idea is that it is gentle. That's what I feel like I do is gentle healing. So I'm glad that you felt that way too, compared to other types of activities that you've done.
It was beautiful. It was soft. Yeah. Sue Morder talks about the bus stop and that you pick your life. So, in other words, you pick your baggage because you want to experience it. And that resonates with me, even if it's not actually true, because maybe we're a frequency, it's not so simple.
So there's a part in the meditation where you see your guides and they're on a boat with you and they're assisting you if you need it. Were you able to see that or interact with a guide?
I experienced enlightened beings, whether it's Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or Babaji or Kuan Yin or Ra. I regularly visualize myself with them as a peer. So I regularly hold, like I'm in the cave of the ancients or I'm in Shambhala. So I regularly hold the frequency that they're my family. So that's kind of how I identified that they're always present, they're always there. I am one with them.
Perfect. Well, it's a part of you. It's just an extension of you that was on there. That's great. Okay, I love that. That's sort of how I am too. Okay, well, you had some dreams, which is great.
I was just super excited to be digging into my dreams again and super excited to be working on the muscle. And when we spoke last time and you said, I can't remember how you said it. You didn't say it with arrogance, but you said that's what I do. And you said it's a skill. And you smiled. As far as your dreams, having the ability to recall them. And I know it's a muscle metaphorically or a muscle because I've developed it before, but I let it go. And so just digging back into dreams, sometimes I get some amazing, I mean, fun, just unbelievable. I consider them dimensional dreams. And other ones are maybe prophetic, and other ones are more my psychology helping me sort stuff out. And so digging back into them was at the moment the biggest win. The fact that I met you and that I'm recording them. And I had that one dream that was kind of a fun payoff dream that was out of all the dreams, I went, yeah, this dream was worth the whole thing, and I know I have more to come.
Great. Well, speaking of dreams, let's start looking at them. Were there any that you definitely wanted to look at?
Go to dream three.
Dream three. Okay. And I'm just going to read through it real quick. 20 feet high. Okay, that seems great. And okay, so somebody you were once friends, but you grew apart. Did you grow apart because of something that happened that was kind of negative, or you just grew apart because you grew apart because of time?
Maybe some subtlety things that cause distance. We just kind of grew apart. I think he's a guy that almost divorced his wife. So we're on two different paths.
Okay, all right. Sometimes, and I'll read through the rest of it, but sometimes when a specific person shows up, it's reminding you of something related, but I'll continue reading to see if it does have anything to do with it. Okay, there was a moral dilemma about honesty at work. And then it says, I looked through where he kept his bills and tried to put them back in order. He walked in and I just stuffed them back. Later, I asked about his marriage and he said it was bad. Okay, and somehow I was in Hawaii. Have you ever been to Hawaii?
Yeah, many times. But it was Hawaii-ish. It was tropical-like. There's a couple other things in the dream. What happened is he had these big, giant slabs, almost like hanging carpets, but what they were like science fiction foods. And you could tell they were high-end foods, and they were slabs. And I noticed that his apartment or house or whatever was kept at a cooling temperature. So it's crazy just to see these slabs of these meals. And then when I reached in for the bills, it's like somehow he had his bills that I reached in looking at them and not to steal anything, but looked at them. But he came in and I shoved them back down. It looked very organized. So then I put this disarray in there and I looked at it and thought, I tried to, when he turned his head, straighten it a little bit. What didn't put it back the way it was.
Okay, got it. Okay. Let me see what else. Somehow at a Waterside seminar, people from high school seated in a semicircle. I absolutely love seeing a semicircle. Do you want to know why?
Yes.
Well, because that's more about your particular path, this path for ascension. It doesn't cycle. So right away, I'm loving seeing this semicircle in your dream. Okay, then you go on. I used my jumping, this time horizontally, and floated a long distance, walking near the water. There were fish laid into the soil like flooring, some smooth, some scaly, like a manta ray, and a woman named Sue.
Sue Morder, that's the lady that I know that wrote the book, The Energy Codes.
Oh, okay. So she asked us to form a circle so we could all feel the talk. Feel the talk. Some people were naked near the beach. It had an old Hawaii feeling. I saw a friend whose apartment had changed. Someone had moved, and I asked her if she had lost her kitchen table. Huh, that's kind of random. Someone was looking for a book and mentioned Wayne Dyer. Some quotes from him and something about God. Okay. Let me think about this first part. So, in dreams that you get when you're using Speedboat, what we're looking for is things about your reason for being or additional cargo that you need to let go of. And we're also looking for you literally letting go of stuff in your dream. So you can see in this first part, you're jumping and you're liberated. And then immediately after that goes this stuff about this guy. And this guy, where you had grown apart, basically it's showing where your path is not his path. So I love that you're being liberated, clearly showing that you're on a different path. There's a little bit, like you mentioned, his stuff was all organized, but then you shoved it back in. So there was some disorder. So, what I'm feeling from that is that there's something in your current path right now that is similar to this situation, and it's in a little bit of a disarray. And what I think it might be is right after you're trying to put things in order. He walked in, I stuffed them back. Later I asked about his marriage and he said it was bad. So I think there's something to explore around your marriage. And I'm not saying, and it's not saying, that it's bad. I'm just saying there maybe is something in order to, and I know nothing about your partner or wife, but something in order so that the two of you are on the same wavelength, something that you need to put into order. Would that make any sense? Is there anything that you can think of? And you don't have to tell me, but it's just something to explore.
Yeah, yeah, no, 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 it makes sense. There's a lot there. And so I'm going in the unknown. And so she's closer to her family and I'm gonna move. So right there, there's a lot there because we're letting go of this house, this cool house and moving. So then our dog, she doesn't, you know how much I love my dog, like you love your dog. And she loves our dog. I turned her from a cat person into a dog person. And so she loves our sweet little dog so much also. So that getting that in order. Our relationship, we were divorced and got remarried. So getting that in order, and I feel inclined to show you my dog because she's so pretty. And
Oh, oh yes. Oh my gosh. What a cutie.
she's like 9 years old and just so but yeah, so it does resonate with what you're saying.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. But what I would say about that, since it's taking you back to when you split up with a friend or something, and then it goes into, and then I asked about his marriage, and he said it was bad. Then to me, that says that this is asking you to untangle something that is still that you still have with regard to when you split up or why, something like that. And so this kind of thing, if you're going to do Speedboat one more night, then you might grab onto a piece of cargo like that. But because it's showing up in this dream as something to continue to unravel, it will probably show up in another part of birth wound, probably in the heart chakra one, just so you know, that's the kind of thing that happens in these speedboat dreams. Okay, so let's take a look at this second part, see what we can get out of it. A Waterside seminar. So I just absolutely love the Waterside seminar. It's kind of like a learning place and it's right by the water. And so in Speedboat, you're obviously in water. And the idea is that you're going to go to dry ground, you're going to density. So I think that's just a little bit of what's showing up here. Now, when you're in high school, were you spiritual at all? Were you thinking about any of these kinds of concepts at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Was that a time when that started to happen for you? Like, you started to seriously think about it, or was that more of college?
I remember picking up something on meditation from a Reader's Digest when I was young and said, focus on the number one. And I tried to focus on the number one, but I noticed that my mind, the monkey chatter, wanted to go wherever it wanted to go. And then I found a book on transcendental meditation when I was 18, and it said you could map out the crime in the city. And like, say, at holiday season, there's more crime. But if you had a bunch of meditators meditating, that they would lower the crime. So what they were implying is that the calm consciousness calmed down the chaotic consciousness. And that resonated with me. So I paid for a course in transcendental meditation at 18. And so some of
Oh.
those were some of the things that had an impact on me.
Yeah. Okay. So the dream is definitely taking you back to when you decided that that was the direction that you were going to go. So that's just super beautiful. I mean, this is a perfect dream. I forgot to tell you, in the beginning, I was in a big room jumping 20 feet high and touching the ceiling. I see very similar things in birth dreams, and I remember one myself. The only difference was that I was tethered. So I did the same kind of thing, though. There was this high, high, high ceiling, but I was tethered like an umbilical cord, right? And I was also jumping and touching the ceiling and coming back down. So that's you showing that you have a lot to grow in this lifetime.
The feeling was fantastic. And then later on, when I jumped sideways, I told somebody that I was with, I said, watch this. And I jumped sideways 40 feet, 60 feet. And it was just, it felt like I knew that I had cracked the matrix in that dream. I knew that I was doing something that other people in that dream world could not do. And I felt completely confident and felt really good about it, not in an egotistical way, just like a self delighted way.
Yeah. Okay. So I would hang on to that feeling. And basically, you're meant to expand even further and you can go forward much, much more. And try to remember that, say, when there are roadblocks, maybe just try to remember this visual and the way that it felt, because our dreams give us these little nuggets. Sometimes they show us how to do things like special meditation techniques and whatever. I actually got Speedboat and the way that it needs to be set up from a dream, how I needed to speak, what I needed to say. So your dreams will show you those things, and sometimes those are just neat little oracles we can put in our pocket and pull out when we need it. So, yeah, you're meant to be expanding in all directions. Now, there's this part in the dream about walking near the water. Yeah, let's.
I was in the sand and the shells or the fish were like 9 or 10 feet. And it's like when you're in a very nice place that's maybe opulent and they have beautiful inlaid marble or inlaid three-dimensional graphics, and I'd be walking on a blue shell and I could see color and I could feel the texture of my feet. And then I found another one and it felt smooth. And it's almost like it was a different dimension or a different timeline, and it's almost like it's symbolizing a prehistoric nature or a post-historic nature of this was once a giant ocean, it made me think of, or this was once that had settled into this time or this era. Almost like it came from a different timeline, would provoke thought because what are these giant fish doing in the sand? They're obviously dead, but they're preserved. Were they put here or were they settled here from a freeze or from something that happened, a 0 point event that happened in the past? But I just know that walking on them was novel. So it created complete curiosity and it felt magical considering everything that had already happened in the dream up until that point.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to tune into that to see exactly why there were these dead fish. So I'm just going to tune in and see what message comes through about that. Hmm. Okay. Okay, so the message that came through was about having heaven on earth. So that's your goal, is to see your earth life as if it is also heaven. So no separation between the feeling of heaven, the feeling of bliss, and the feeling of being on earth. And that is what sometimes, and considering that we're working on the Earth Star chakra, it makes sense that you're seeing these either pre or post historic things that are laid in the soil, because the Earth Star chakra really wants to anchor you here instead of having you float away, right? So when we're, you could say, on the other side, yeah, we float. We're so huge and expansive, just like in the early part of your dream. You're jumping up and going forward and all that. But then the Earth Star says, hey, but stay here and explore this and find that same level of freedom as you find out there when you're on the other side, when you're fully integrated, fully this giant being. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you. It makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what this little message is about, those 9 foot long fish inlays in the marble. So let's look at why Sue Morder shows up and she asked you to form a circle. When you said, so we could all feel the talk, can you tell me what you meant by that?
I don't necessarily recall, but I do use the word feeling is, I think everything is distilled down to a feeling. And I think feeling eliminates perspective. And it's almost undisputable. A feeling would be equal to a frequency or a fragment of consciousness. And so for me, it's like instead of getting the ego bias off of it, and take it to the feeling and see what I'm feeling. I'm a receiver and I'm a transmitter. So lately I've been talking about feeling. So that's came up in my regular day-to-day vocabulary, that everything gets distilled down to a feeling in the biological machinery. You can eliminate the prejudice, you can drop the story and don't demonize it or villainize it, just feel it. Feel it. And so when you told me to tap into those two feelings were, I forgot what you said, like oracle gifts, those two feelings, that feeling of jumping up and touching the ceiling, that was my language. Because those feelings I can use to create, or those feelings I can use to change my biological hormones. And so, because of where she is in her consciousness, it makes sense that we go and feel the talk.
Yes, and you're demonstrating in the dream how feelings are becoming physical also. Like you made them physical by jumping around, floating around. So that's just really, really beautiful. So if we put that with the earlier message about your mission to find heaven, to have heaven on earth and to be fully in this earth life and to enjoy the physical. And that's another birth message that comes through in a lot of these types of dreams is love the density, love the physical. So I absolutely love that the message is coming through to feel, because that's being in the physical, as it's a gift. It's a gift of being in the physical. Okay, so that's why she asked you to form a circle. Huh. Okay, so in this next part, it says no clothes at all.
No clothes at all.
Do you remember if you were wearing clothes in the dream?
I don't remember. I think I was though.
Okay. Okay,
I think
alright,
I
so
noted it was a village that would be a feeling of like a German village where you would have bratwurst and you would have beer, but now put it in a Polynesian village. It's Polynesian, but it was quaint, but it was beautiful, but it was cute and it was festive. And so it had just a really unique, cool feeling. And it's like people were just so uninhibited that they were free. They were free not to judgment and free, just like you might see an African tribe where they're bare breasted or they have limited clothing, but it's a non issue because it's normal. And that's what it felt like. There's no judgment, there's no weird sexual stuff there.
perfect. Well, I mean, just based on what you just said, that free from judgment, people are uninhibited, and it's basically a great place to be. Again, it's like saying, hey, that's what your mission is. That's what you decided. That's where you want to get in this lifetime. So I would say, as you're going through this part of dream coaching or just throughout the days, just kind of try to find if you are having any sort of judgment. And most of the time you see judgment on or from the way that you talk to yourself. So just try to notice that and maybe make a quick note in your phone or something like, oh, I said this thing to myself, or I was looking at that person in the store and I was like, oh my God, how can people act so rude? They're really being bad to me. They're like a bad person for doing that. Or I don't know, it's hard for me to come up with examples, but it's a judgment. But when you're totally free from judgment, you can see the behavior and you can decide, oh, I I don't want to be with that person anymore or whatever. But at the same time, it is okay that they do what they do. It is okay. That is like the ultimate freedom, right? And I'm probably talking to the choir here, but that's what I have to say about judgment right now.
No, no, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I think the goal is to be aware and understanding. And the goal is to be like when you said bring heaven on earth. So we're bringing this, from my perspective, oneness, which is a form of love, oneness into this plane of duality without judgment. So being able to look at everything with on that equanimity and that equality. And I think when you look at everything from that perspective, you can always spin your perspective with your consciousness if you choose to. But even so, being human is fun to be human, it's fun to make mistakes, and it's fun to judge or catch ourselves judge. I've done a lot of Hapono Ono, and I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. So I jokingly, when I'm talking to people, if I'm training them and I call somebody a deriding name, I'm in Costco and I see a person that is really rude to me. And I think, oh, you blank. And then I'll go, oh, no, no, no. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. So, or even back at myself, with the whole YouTube thing, it's been teaching me so much about being a victim or feeling maybe it's not my destiny and just loving the jealousy. I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you, or just enjoying this ride that I'm on that allowed me to meet you. But I respect you, and your beauty and your kindness becomes more apparent the more I get to know you. So anything you say is always welcome.
Ah, I appreciate that. Well, let's try to wrap this dream up and see what this last part is. So, I saw a friend whose apartment had changed. Someone had. Oh, so is this an actual friend in waking life that you have here?
Yeah, but at the moment, I don't even remember who it was. But yeah, it was a friend.
Okay, got it. So, their apartment changed. Someone had moved. I asked her if she lost her kitchen table. I don't know why, but that just makes me laugh. Someone was looking for a book and mentioned Wayne Dyer. What do you think about Wayne Dyer?
I think Wayne Dyer, he affected a lot. He hit the middle ground of humanity and opened up a lot of people to spirituality during his fame. And at first, he started mainstream with writing grants, and then he ended up taking the spiritual path. And he lost some people on his ascension into spirituality, but he also gained some for who and what he was. And so I think a lot of stuff he said resonates with me, makes perfect sense. The stuff that I've checked out, I think knowing your audience, if you looked at the earth collectively as your audience, coupled with the niche, coupled with your path, know your audience. And so I think what he did is maybe he distanced himself from his audience, from his main core audience, as he started going more niche into spirituality. And so that was just his path. But those are just some initial thoughts I had on him.
Mhm, mhm. So I was asking that to see kind of if I could confirm what I was feeling as you were talking. So are you concerned or are you already aware of that you are becoming more niche, you are becoming more in the weirdness or on that spiritual path, and you are possibly going to have to leave people behind? Is that a thing that you realize is happening, and how are you feeling about that?
Yeah. I mean, here's my thoughts. I think somebody asked me, what is enlightenment? And I said, well, I think there's degrees. And there are martial artists, like some people are black belts, but some people are black belts. I said, yeah, perfectly. There's degrees of consciousness, and no consciousness is better than anybody else. It's just degrees of consciousness. And I feel like I'm here to help the earth. I'm here to serve the creator. And I think I've never been big about the 4D, 5D thing, but I hear people talking about it. So some of the languaging is opened up in the collective. But what I do believe is there's a transition occurring, and I choose to make the transition. And then I choose to make the transition with the people. If the ones that I love want to make the transition, it's their choice, but I would hope for them to transition with me. When I mentioned that other lady, she said that I was, she had a name for me, that I was a person that my frequency affected way more people than I would ever know, like a Buddhic field. She said I was a person of unknown consequences. Just by being, without saying anything, I was radiating my frequency, impacting more people than I would ever know. So that came up 2 or 3 weeks ago. You look at destruction, and whenever there's destruction, it's an opportunity to create. When there's a stasis, when everything's the same, the fabric of reality is firmer. But right now, the fabric of reality is getting looser. So it's easier to create in destruction than it is in the stasis where everything's the same. So right now is a prime opportunity to be a beacon of light in the chaos and hold the fabric of reality together. So my job, I feel, is just to radiate light and surrender, and just but also have fun because I incarnated. So it's my choice to enjoy the experience and love the experience. So I love communicating with people, and the people I love communicating with the most are the ones that can receive what I have to give them, because I will fall on deaf ears for the ones that are not ready for it. So my hope is to create that audience, turning snowflakes into diamonds. A diamond is a metaphor for a 4D, 5D human being that's no longer identified as a human. They're identified as an angel on earth. And so my goal is to share, find that tribe and make it a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So it's so simple that it's undisputable for them to not understand it. That's besides the frequency that's radiating out to them. So I know that I'm going to be distanced. And I know with 20,000 hours as a professional speaker that I can make my words make sense to anybody. It doesn't matter where they are in the spectrum of spirituality. But then I also want to find the people that I can funnel this frequency through that are the most receptive to it. And when that happens, I know there's going to be that distancing. And to the other ones,
Yeah.
it will seem weird, seem wrong.
Yeah. Well, Wayne Dyer, he changed and the people found him or fell away. So, much like that, that's how it's going to happen with you too. So I think that's exciting. And what a great dream to go over and perfect for Speedboat. So, whoa, that's just so cool.
Thank you so much. It was what a gift. Thank you.
Geez, yeah, no kidding. Well, great job to you on those dreams. Wish we had more time to look at all of them.
Was the fun one. It was perfect. It was perfect. Yeah, thank you so much.
Well, then I will send you the next one, which I'll just give you a quick synopsis. It's called Sunspark, and it's the moment of conception. You were a spark, right? You started like that, but it takes you through it's actually my favorite. It takes you through rising, and being the best, most integrated, wonderful being ever, and then crashing. And it takes you back to 0 point, basically. And you get to find your spark again with this one. I think you're going to love it. So for the next four, I use light language in it because, well, and I have these specific binaural beats in there, different frequency mixes. And I suggest that you listen with headphones because the experience is going to be exactly that. It's going to be an experience and enjoy. You can fall asleep with it, doesn't matter. You're still going to get all the benefit from it. The closer you are to sleep, actually, the better because you're in that state where you're really going to receive the messages that come through and it won't be in English, but you will feel it. You will feel what I'm saying in there. So, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to hear and to hear what you say about it. Okay, well, yeah, any questions?
I mean, mostly gratitude and super, super big thank you.